Marvel Spider-Man ditches the origin story that we've heard thousands of times by now and opts to tell us a mature story of Peter Parker 8 years into his career as Spider-Man. Peter's a college graduate, he's working as a scientist, but I won't spoil who he's working for because that is genuinely one of the best surprises I've had in gaming in a long time. The story sees Spidey bring down his longtime rival Kingpin just for a new, more dangerous villain to rise and cause mayhem in New York. The story starts off slow but continues to gain momentum over the course of the game and eventually erupts into all-out madness. Many of the most popular villains in Spider-Man's huge rogue gallery show up to cause Spidey trouble. The end of the game may be one of the best video game endings I've ever seen, and I don't say that lightly. While I definitely enjoyed the main story, the side missions in this game are fucking terrible. I don't expect the side missions to have the same high detailed cutscenes that the main story does, but I expect something, not just two characters standing there talking. We should expect more from the side content of a 2018 PlayStation exclusive, especially considering some of the best parts of the recent God of War was its side missions. That being said, there was one or two missions I really enjoyed, the rest of them just felt extremely fucking lazy. The boss fights in the game got a lot of hate from gaming and media for being too simplistic and unoriginal. I personally really enjoyed the boss fights. It felt like an old-fashioned video game boss that had multiple layers, and I guess I just kind of enjoyed the simplicity of the bosses. The final boss fight ramps up the tension and is one of the best fights I've played in a long time. One of my favorite fights in the whole game is actually a side boss you might never fight. All I'm going to say is complete all the challenges around the world and you get to see one of the coolest designs for a boss in quite a while. Yuri Lowenthal does an amazing job as Peter Parker, but the standout of the story is the supporting cast. Lori Bailey as MJ and, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this name wrong, but Najee Jeter as Miles Morales fucking killed their roles in this game. One of the most important aspects about a Spider-Man game is the suit selection. I'm not going to spoil any of them, but I genuinely feel as about 3/4 of the suits could have been absent from the game. They were just lame, and they just really weren't that great of suit selection. Spider-Man has such cool suits, but it's kind of sad to see that they wasted them on some of these lame-ass looking suits. In my opinion, you guys might like them. I was overall disappointed with the suit selection. Gameplay consists of Spidey swinging around the city going from mission to mission. He's occasionally being interrupted by a random crime or a call from Mary Jane or Aunt May. The combat is very similar to the Arkham games, except Spider-Man emphasizes dodging instead of countering and adds a lot of verticality to the combat. You're constantly yanking and punching enemies into the air and fighting them up high where the other enemies on the field can't attack you. And that's good because Spider-Man is really not that strong. A few shots from an enemy with an AR is enough to bring Spidey down. I played the game on the medium difficulty and I really only died about 5 times throughout the entire game. And by the end of the game, if you've upgraded your gadgets enough, Spider-Man can almost become invincible. Web bomb a group of enemies and send out your Spidey drones to do the work for you. I suggest playing on the hardest difficulty if you really want a rewarding experience. The game does have a fast travel system, but you won't want to use it because web swinging is the best it's ever been in a Spider-Man game. It's smooth and you can gain incredible speed to traverse the beautiful city. Compare the city in Marvel Spider-Man to the city in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and you can just tell how much of a big difference and how much of an emphasis that Insomniac placed on making the city its own character. In The Amazing Spider-Man 2, you'd land on the ground and people would act like you're just someone else. They wouldn't recognize you as this incredible hero like Spider-Man. On Marvel Spider-Man, you land on the ground, people come up to you, give you a high five, try and take selfies with you. The city's alive, it's beautiful, it's vibrant, and it really is just as big of a character as anyone else in the game is. New York City is its own character, and Insomniac did a beautiful job on that. The main story took me about 15 hours to beat, and after you beat it, you're not left with much meaningful things to do. The side quests are ass, and you're left with the game's handful of collectibles. Luckily, swinging around the city is so much fun you won't have any problem collecting these collectibles. All of them give you a small amount of lore about the world of this Spider-Man, making it worth it to take the time out of your day to collect them all. Marvel Spider-Man is my favorite game so far of 2018, and I do not say that lightly. It's truly one of, if not the best, PS4 exclusive to date. If you're a fan of Spider-Man or Marvel in general, you're doing yourself a disservice by not picking up this game. So let's go over what I thought was positive and negative. On the positive side, we have a great story, a 15-hour plus main story, incredible combat, the best web swinging yet in a video game. New York is beautiful, the voice acting is on point, classic boss fights, tons of gadgets, a great supporting cast, and it's not the same origin story we've heard a million times. On the negative side of things, we had the poor suit choices that the developers chose to include. The camera during combat sections can get stuck on walls, and the fucking horrible side missions in the game. So that's how my reviews work. I gave you some pros, I gave you some cons, and now it's up to you to decide if you think that this game is worth it to you, if this is something you're interested in. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, leave a thumbs up. If you disliked it, leave a thumbs down. and I'll see you guys on the next episode.